Welcome to Heaven and Hell at 43. I am your host, Elle Edwards, and I'm super excited to be sharing these extra special love stories throughout May in the lead up to my 43rd birthday. Remember, if you enjoy this episode, you can enjoy lots more, so make sure you subscribe wherever it is that you are enjoying this video. When Holy Spirit first gave me the idea for the Heaven and Hell at 43 podcast special episodes, I was really excited, and I was sharing the whole idea with one of the ladies in church, and I said, do you have a story you want to share? And bless her, she said yes. So today's story was recorded in our local church. It's a story from, she might be, and she hopefully won't tell me off for saying this, she might be one of the most senior people to share a story. I don't know yet, but at the time of recording she certainly is. But I'm delighted to introduce you to Carol. Carol is in our church and she has a really moving story. I also feel it's really important as well just to thank Carol for being so transparent and so vulnerable, because it is an incredibly touching story. Yet another wonderful story of God meeting someone exactly where they were at and loving on Carol in a way that she needed in that moment. So take it away, please, Carol.
I married my first husband very young. It was a disastrous marriage after many years of his gambling and various flings. So attending the children's opening days, birthdays were all left to me. Once again I found I was pregnant. With 5 children already, another was far too much for me to even think about. I decided to have them the pregnancy ended, but also to be sterilised, as even birth control, like everything, was left to me. The day after the operation, I would have given anything to turn back the clock, and I was devastated. Some years later, after a divorce, I remarried. We wanted children, and we adopted 2, but that's another story. As time passed, the feelings of guilt and pain grew. I believed in God and had attended Sunday school, but I wasn't alive spiritually. Though through a difficult time in the family, I called out to God for help, and soon after this was born again. It was like a pilot light in me had been switched up to full volume. We bought a video called Heaven is for Real. This was a true story of a minister's son aged about 6 who died but was revived. In this time he was in heaven. Jesus introduced him to his older sister. The boy said, "What's her name?" And Jesus said, "She has no name. She was stillborn." Some months later, the boy asked his parents about her, and they were shocked, having never spoken, of course, of her. Now I knew that God had forgiven me, and suddenly I was finding I'd realised, but what about my child? Had she forgiven me? I was in torment and my anguish just grew. I prayed and asked God to let me know if she'd forgiven me. And I said, "Could you let me see the name Lydia, which is my grandmother's name, somewhere, or a sign, or, well, you're sovereign, Lord, whatever you choose." A few days later, I was idly flipping through stuff on Google, probably looking at dogs and puppies. Suddenly before me was a picture of a young woman kneeling in anguish. She'd had an abortion, and there was a small child touching her head in love. And I nearly fell off the sofa, and I knew without doubt that this was for me. I was so full of joy, I rang my daughter-in-law, who had been trying for a baby via IVF. I told her and I said I wondered, did she think it would be okay for me to name her? And she said, "Oh yes, Mum. I named the last baby I lost, who was only a few weeks old, but I called her Lydia." You can find the pictures online, and I have read that it has given help to others. The picture of the statue is Martin Hudacek's anti-abortion memorial. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol, again for sharing your story with us. And if you'd like to see that picture which touched Carol's heart so much, at the end of this video you're going to see a still image of that picture. And I just would invite you as well, if you know somebody for whom Carol's story is particularly pertinent, you know, we can all probably bring to mind people who will identify with aspects of Carol's story. So please do share Carol's story with anybody. Share it with anybody, but particularly, you know, if God nudges you, oh, my friend so-and-so needs to hear this story, I would really encourage you to share Carol's story with them, because God is a God of love. God met Carol exactly where she was at and held her and showed her that she was loved and that she didn't need to feel any more of that guilt and condemnation. And there's a lot of us, particularly as women, who will beat ourselves up and give ourselves a hard time. So if you have a woman in your life who needs that encouragement, please do share today's episode with her. And as always, of course, thank you for being here. I look forward to sharing the very next story with you very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.